Hi guys, and today we're at the Birmingham NEC, the National Exhibition Centre, and we're here to check out the Classic Car Show. Now I've heard a lot about this show. As you can see behind me, it caters to all kinds. So that's the quite ordinary cars quite there, Citroen GS and the Proton, but also some quite unique stuff. So if you come over here, like behind me, you can see hall number 5, and that is packed full of stuff. So I want to go and see that. But actually, we have hall 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think 8. Quite a few halls, quite a lot of stuff to get through. We are not going to be able to cover everything, but hopefully I'll try and give you a little bit of a snapshot of what it's like to come to the Classic Car Show at the Birmingham NEC. One of the great things about this show is you find stuff that completely takes you by surprise, and you think you know what it is, and then you do a double take and like, what is that? And one of those is this thing. Now this is basically a Fiat 124. You think it's an Eastern European car, but it looks so fresh that I wondered if it had been built from, it was a recreation or it had been built from new. Actually, it's a rebuild, and what they've done is they've made it a 2-door with the vinyl roof on it, and it's so elegant, and it's done by a place called Duda Garages in Poland, and apparently the guy that runs the Duda is a big racing celebrity in Poland, and this is a one-off that he's created, and they've just brought it here to have a look at it. I think it looks absolutely stunning. You know, it's probably the prettiest car of its genre, if you like, that I've seen. I'm really quite taken with that. I've just been checking out this incredible monster of a machine back here. It's getting a lot of attention. I've got Stephen, the owner of the car. Tell me about this. What was it, and what have you done to it?
It was one of those.
What's that?
Lotus.
A Lotus?
Yeah.
Now you've really confused me, because I thought it was a Beetle.
The body is a Beetle, but it's on a Lotus chassis.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Which Lotus?
Lotus Elite.
Okay, so Lotus Elite chassis,
Yeah.
Beetle body, and what's this at the front here?
Rover V8 3.5, 5-speed manual box, and a Jaguar rear axle.
What possessed you to do this?
It's a collection of bits and pieces I had lying around really.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's a Frankencar.
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
And do you race it? It looks like it's drag strip ready.
No, I'm just totally content with going out, driving it, not breaking down, and getting back home. Yeah.
Would you like to take it on a drag strip?
I've done it in the past, and you tend to blow them up, and it's too expensive.
to rebuild the engines?
Yeah.
Do you know what sort of figures it might do?
No, I really don't. No.
And is this all custom made there at the front?
Yeah, all handmade those. Yeah.
Yourself?
Yes, yeah.
How long did it take you to do this?
5 or 6 years to build. Got weekends, evenings. Loads of time, no money, then money, no time. The usual thing. Yeah, but.
And is it a keeper, or would you sell this?
Keeper. It just makes me smile. I mean, I'd have to build another one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, getting too old now to start again. So.
Steve, you've built an awesome machine. It looks crazy. It's fantastic. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing a smile to all our faces.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
at this. This is beautiful. I'm here at the Toyota Enthusiast Club. You know, I used to be a member of these guys back in the early 90s when I had my Celica Supra, and I love these things. This is the Japanese Mustang, and I found the owner here. Pete, this is beautiful. It's a 1972. How did you come by this?
Found it on a website in Japan, Gune Exchange, and fell in love. Done my research, asked many questions, and made the plunge. You know, it's not easy, you know, exchanging that money when you haven't seen a vehicle.
Would you care to say how much?
It was below 20.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. Had you had one of these before?
I did in 1990. It was very similar to the white one over there, but similar to your story,
Yeah.
I couldn't source any parts.
Right.
And
this is the
there
days
was,
before the internet and hard to get stuff.
1989,
Yeah.
there was no internet.
Yeah.
I went to the Toyota dealership.
Yeah.
I asked them for a door.
Yeah.
They goes, yes, we've got a door,
Yeah.
but it's located in Belgium and it's going to cost you 680 quid. That's 1989. And I sold the vehicle, and I didn't realise at the time when I sold it, I actually sold it to Malcolm. I didn't know. I didn't
so
know.
you know where it is now?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
excellent.
yes.
So it lives on.
It does. It does partly.
Yeah.
Partly.
So Pete, is it as good as you remember it to be from your earlier experience?
This is better. This is better. It's been put together. Well, I'm presuming professionally. There's no creaks. It drives straight. No rattles. I did have alloys on this vehicle. And if you just want to come over to this side, I purchased the original hubcaps,
Wow.
which you just can't source anywhere. Found them
Yeah.
in Serbia,
Yeah.
had them shipped over, and put them on. And now the drive is amazing. It's so nice and so soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you use it regularly, or is it just for shows
Only-
and stuff
yeah,
like this?
Well, I'll use it definitely. The weather app and me are very close, so I'm always checking for the right occasion, the right weather, and I'll always take it out. Always take it out.
And now that you've got it, and I often think about myself, you know, if I found a Supra, would it be as good as I remember it to be, because I love that car, and you know, would I be happy to keep it? Now that you've got it,
Yep.
is it a keeper?
Oh, 100%. I brought it 2016, and it was in the show at the NEC in 2017. And there's a large community from Northern Ireland that follow classic Toyotas. There was a chap who offered me 34.
Right.
But I only had it for a year.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to continue that journey.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a good investment and it's an enjoyable investment. You know.
Okay, so final question for you. Is it, you talked about owning it in 1989, 1990, and
yeah.
today, with the internet and with the support of clubs like this, is it easier to own this now than it used to be?
Most definitely. You can source parts worldwide. You've got Malcolm. If he can't get you a part, there's places across the world. So it's much better. It's not easier because they're getting so rare, but it helps you out.
It's possible. So
Yeah.
Malcolm, who was that?
Malcolm is the club secretary, the chap with the silver hair.
And so this is the Toyota Enthusiast Club. People can look for it online and you find it.
Absolutely. Magnificent.
Awesome. And if you happen to come down to the show, you should come down here because there's Pakoras on the stand and you can't say no to that.
And tomorrow's samosa.
So I'm here with Jeff Bailey, who's kind of my boss a little bit, because he's co-founder of GoClassics magazine, one of the magazines that I write for. And if you've been following that magazine, he's running a series of all the cars that he's owned, and it's over 100 cars, isn't it?
It's true.
But here at the Classic Car Show, we found a car that you haven't owned.
Yeah, sadly, I've never owned one of these.
And you've never even driven one?
I've never even driven one. And
oh my goodness,
you
have to correct that.
This is definitely on my bucket list, guys, because, just look at this. It's just so idiosyncratic. It's classless. It's just so James Bond, but it's not yellow.
And he did, because he had the yellow one and he
gotta
drove
be
around
yellow.
it. So, Hank, so what has stopped you? You had literally everything, European, German, Japanese, American.
Yeah.
What stopped you getting one of these?
I think not understanding what makes them tick. I've looked at them. I've never actually been in the showroom and actually driven it or looked around it. But my problem with these has always been, is it cool? And let's face it, in years gone by, it was just a cheap car. Now it's uber cool, and I'm starting to think, hey, this could be something that could be on my list very soon.
You need to get one and put GoClassics livery along the side of it.
It's more like brown car guy.
We'll do that as well. I got free branding. This is awesome, guys. All right, Jeff, enjoy the show, man.
Thank you.
Hopefully we're going to do really good stuff for the magazine here.
Yeah, we certainly are. There's going to be some corkers.
GoClassics.co.uk. So there's been a lot of discussion lately about converting classics to electric, and I found Darren here at the NEC Centre, and he has converted this 2CV to electric. And in fact, you're a 2CV specialist, aren't you?
Yeah, our main business is petrol 2CVs. We got a 320 page parts catalogue. That's our main business, and we have developed this electric car, what we'll be starting to install in next March.
So how did you come about the idea of doing this as an electric car?
It's been on the cast about 3 years. I worked in conjunction with our French part supplier, Mahari Club Cassis in the south of France. They already make the electric Mahari called the Eden, and this kit is fundamentally out of that car. So basically they have built an electric 2CV, put it through the European homologation so you can sell it in France, and this is the very first right-hand drive one.
So this is essentially a certified conversion in a sense?
It is, yes. Yeah. This one's still pre-production. It's a left-hand kit in the right-hand drive car, but as I say, we're still working on it.
And you made it sound like it's a drop-in kit. Is it that easy?
I would say it's that easy. Yeah, it's not that easy, but it's just making the insulation simple. Where the battery goes, making that sure that's fixed down. It's not as complicated as because the motor is a DC motor, so there's no inverter. It's a 100-volt system, so it's not hugely complicated. But you've got to have some common sense how to fit it. We're hoping to develop a DIY kit so people can fit themselves, but that's next year we'll be doing that.
And what sort of costs are we talking about, either buying a vehicle or getting it converted?
This one, the kit is £16,900 fitted. If you bring a 2CV to us, next March we're starting doing it, £16,900, or a turnkey car, as in we'll supply the car, starts about £29,000 upwards.
And who's interested in it? Is it existing 2CV owners or a whole new crowd of people?
It's quite interesting actually. No, there's a group of existing owners. We got several booked in. We got to go and pick the car, convert it electric, give it back to them, and also there's a crowd of new people coming in. And what will be quite interesting at this moment in time, we're working on the 2CV van, and that's basically small businesses, people in London, Birmingham, Manchester, that places where they got the clean air zone, and they want something outstanding, bit unique, instead of a Nissan van.
Exactly, that makes sense. Now I've driven one of these and they are hilarious fun, not an electric one, a regular one. How does converting it to electric impact the drive?
Because when we developed it, we was very concerned to lose the DNA of the original car. So the car is only 30 kilograms heavier than the original car.
Oh, right.
The weight distribution is more 50-50, but that's not so important for a 2CV. The best compliment we get when people drive it, who own 2CVs, they say it's a 2CV but electric.
Yeah.
It's not performance related, so it's just a little bit quicker to 50 than the original car, not by much. You leave it in third gear or fourth, and it'll pull away and forth with me in it from a standing still, and it's like an automatic 2CV.
That's awesome. What's the range on it?
This one's 65 miles.
Oh, that's good. Good for London and stuff.
Yeah, it is. And the average miles of a classic car is 350 miles a year.
Yeah.
So we could have gave it more range, add more weight.
Yeah.
Then you got to modify the suspension. This is not modified at all.
Yeah.
It's a standard car. So it's a bit of give and take. But 65. People normally drive somewhere to a destination.
Yeah. You
can charge on a destination. It charges on a 3-pin plug.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Yeah,
there you go. Awesome. Where can people find you?
The 2CV shop, internet's a good place. It's a website, the 2cvshop.co.uk, or the electric ones, 2cev.co.uk.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man.
No, thanks a lot.
So guys, here at the Classic Car Show, you can find some incredible icons, and of course I found one right now. Okay, this is not the Bullitt Mustang, but you know what? It's close enough, and I found the owner, Peter. Tell me about this car, because it looks like a Bullitt car.
Yeah, so I'm a dealer, classicamericancarsales.co.uk.
You got that in early.
Yes, I did. I'm sorry. Shameless. So I brought the car in from America. It needed a few things doing, so we replaced the floor, we had the upholstery redone, new carpet, new chrome, new bumpers, and of course new paint. And then we sold the car. We sold it to a gentleman in London. And about 6 months ago, he called us up and he said, I'd like to sell the car. My son has a business venture. He's a smart kid. Let's get started. So I bought the car back from him and refreshed a few things because he had used it, and now have the car for sale here at the NEC.
How much is it going for?
It's $65,000.
That's not bad. I mean, Mustang rallies have appreciated a lot in the last sort of decade or so, haven't they?
I would say since COVID began, the past 18 months, they're up 10,000 across the board.
So keeping that in mind,
yes,
that's a pretty good price for this.
It's not a bad price. I just sold another one, which was my personal one, very similar, a little bit hopped up, for $85,000.
So, is there a big demand for Bullitt lookalikes? I know a few
Absolutely.
years ago, everybody was into the Eleanors, weren't they?
Eleanor is very popular. I sell a lot of projects as well, so cars that need work, and it's split about 50-50, people building Eleanors and people building Bullits. I do a lot of Bullits. I just painted a red car, Highland green, sold it in 3 days to a gentleman from Singapore.
Is it a generational thing? Because I do find, like, I relate to the Bullitt car.
Okay.
Because, you know, I'm 68 vintage too, let's be honest.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, same with me. I
So
was born in 68.
there you go. Excellent.
Yeah.
And but I find the younger generation is really into the Eleanors. Do you find that as well?
Absolutely. You know, they're part of the Need for Speed and all the video games and stuff, and Eleanor features in that.
Yeah.
But the Bullitt, I've sold to young guys, and I've sold to older guys and women as well.
So how authentic does the Bullitt need to be? How close to the original, or is it just the color?
Well, for a lot of it is the color. So I do 67 and 68s in the Bullitt green. Obviously, the Bullitt was a 68 GT3 94 speed.
Fastback.
They really like the body style and the color. And the funny thing is ever since like 20 years, everyone thought the original Bullitt car had a black taillight panel. So we did them. This one has a black taillight panel because that's how Bullitt was. Then they find the real Bullitt car, it doesn't have a black taillight panel. So now everyone's like, I don't want a black taillight panel, but I happen to like it. I think the chrome on the black really looks good. So, you know, as long as it looks like this, they like a black interior, they like the dark Highland green, it sells.
So obviously what you're saying there is it's about the look.
Look,
since
yeah.
it's about the look, is resto mode a big thing when it comes to...
Huge thing. Yeah, people like a big engine or a modified engine, maybe the original engine, a 302, but with aluminum heads and aluminium, sorry.
No, we're in Blighty.
Exactly, you know, headers.
You can say it your way, it's fine. We're talking muscle cars here, come on.
Disc brakes and stuff. I don't like to go too crazy because you go for massive disc brakes and you got to do massive wheels. If you go for giant headers, then the engine doesn't fit and things hit. So I keep it mild, but they like a little extra punch. Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. So just remind everybody where they can find you again, like you did at the beginning.
So,
because I will talk to you again, hopefully one day soon,
Beautiful.
about getting a 68.
So I'm Peter from classicamericancarsales.co.uk. I'm on Instagram and I'm on Facebook and eBay and anywhere you look for me. Happy to help you.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for talking to us.
Thanks. Take care of yourself.
So I'm here at the Honda stand at the NEC, and actually you came up to me, Robert,
I
didn't
did
you?
indeed, yes. He's a great guy.
And you've actually watched some of my content, including the S800 review, and you're standing next to an S800, I noticed.
Indeed. This is my car, which I've bought and having recommissioned at the moment. And luckily enough, the S800 Club said, "Could you bring it down here because we like the rather eclectic purple that's here, and for people to see and show it."
How many cars are in the S800 Club?
Now, this we're quite lucky here today because I understand. I mean, there's 65 S800s that are probably on the road at the moment.
That's actually more than I thought.
Yeah, are on the road. Of the convertibles, you've got 2 out of 14 that are still left on the road.
Wow. Two convertibles.
2 convertibles. So you've got 1 convertible there, 1 convertible there,
and then one with Honda.
There are 14 still on the road from the S800.
Awesome. And when did you get this car?
I got this in the end of June. So.
What prompted you to do that?
Right. Long history. Started off when I was knee-high to a grasshopper and like the Datsun 240Z and tried to convince my parents to buy one unsuccessfully. Then put that to buy. I went to Japan several years ago, well, not several years ago, probably a decade ago, and I was going around and happened to see that clocked Japanese cars and thought, got to go and have another look at those. And we've got another stand over there with Toyotas and others over here, but I noticed these very, very small little Hondas and I thought, interesting. Move forward another decade, and I started to sort of think, well, let's just revisit. So looked at Datsun Fairlady, but there are not too many of those in the UK. I thought, Toyota, 2000 GT, the James Bond one. I'll get one of those. A little bit too expensive.
No, those are very rare. Those are very rare. I've seen a few. There is one here. I saw this summer. I saw one at the London Concourse.
Yes, I saw it. It's in the video. So, and then started reading up about this and researching and thought, this is a really cool car. It works on so many different levels. You've got, apart from leaving aside this particular colour or whatever, the engine.
What do you call it? Plum crazy? Because the Dodge purple is
purple haze. It's 1967. It can't be anything other than purple haze. It's Jimi Hendrix.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense. And you look a bit like Jimi Hendrix.
Of course. Of course, no. And we were joking actually earlier on that if you actually had one of the Jerry Anderson Thunderbird Stingray and everything, this car wouldn't be out of place next to Lady Penelope's car. So
and since you've had it, has it been all you expected?
Everything and more, because the more I can only quote my my mechanic who was going through it. He said yesterday, he said, Robert, we keep taking bits off and we all stand around there and absolutely marvel at the engineering that's gone into this. It is amazing. And he said we've also got a couple of guys who, when this came in, were a bit quizzical. Now they can't work on it enough. We just want to keep doing more work on it. So.
And what about you? Can you just want to keep driving it?
Yes, this will be coming into my collection, and I will. It will be there. And I think, as I said to you earlier on, that my kids are fighting over who will eventually take it.
What else quickly? I know we're on the Honda stand, so you may not be allowed to say, but what else quickly have you got in your collection?
I'll tell you. I have an Austin Healey and a Lancia Fulvia.
Ooh, nice.
1972 on that, and the Austin Healey is a 1963 BJ7, so that one that sits right in between the old Austin Healey's and the Mark III.
That's awesome. Robert, thank you so much for coming and saying hello. Lovely to meet you. Long may you enjoy the car.
Indeed. Thank you.
Caught up with Ian here at the show, and as you can see, he's made me autograph the car. So next time you see this thing, and you will see it because it's everywhere.
It gets about.
Check the corner. That's me right there. That's what that is. So anyway, that's very kind of you, Ian. Thank you. How's the show been going for you? I know it's the first day, but what's it been like?
It's been really good. I just really enjoy. I enjoy being at shows. If I can be at a car show, I will. I'm local to here. Living in Coventry.
I mean, you barely had a pause, really.
Yeah. I mean, normally there's a bit of a kind of a lull or whatever, but no. I think because how the event season has gone this year. It's literally like, as soon as events started in May, it was like every weekend there's something to go to. And that's really, like some Goodwood, members meeting, down at Donington.
Let me ask you something else, which is a little bit of a philosophical question, if you like. Post-pandemic, have you seen a different sort of attitude from the crowd as to before that?
I think, Pete, like as shows as the shows got less rule, the first shows were all under restriction. So, and there was a little bit of hesitancy with restriction, but they're all outdoors. So it was, for me, I was like, if we're outdoors, cool, whatever. But I think the first show, like the British Motor Show, which was earlier on in the year, when that was the first post lockdown show, there was a real appetite for car shows. And I think people came out like really just wanting to be with people, see people. And this is all a community. All of this is community, whether it's an online community or a physical at a car show and whatever. I think there's been a real kind of uptake of actually vehicles bring people together. And that's what it's about for everybody. And that's what, doing this, doing the online stuff during lockdown meant that I could communicate with people like yourself, people getting involved, journalists, people in the industry, doing this and then creating it as a mobile thing. And at the first show we did, the Vista show, where I first built this, where I was trialing it and going, is this going to work? Is this going to be a thing? But doing this now for a year, year and a half pretty much in the car, I've really enjoyed it, and I still love doing the paintings, but actually this feels like a community thing that I've done, and people are enjoying the lives and the ongoing stuff I'm doing with it, and I can tweak it and change it.
But now, I just said to you, are you taking a break? And then you said to me, no, I'm actually going overseas.
So all going to plan, touch wood. It's Saudi. Saudi next. So that'll be exciting. I haven't, obviously, like most people, I haven't really travelled out. It's been great to be travelling over the UK. But it's always exciting to have those kind of, try and do things abroad and the challenges that brings. So, and obviously in a with restrictions or some of the things we've still got to do. So so exciting to do that, and that's painting rather than drawing. So and from what I've seen, some of the cars that are going to be there, it's going to be exciting.
So this is the Riyadh Motor Show, is it?
Yeah.
And when is it?
So it starts next week. So I'm next weekend, either next weekend or Monday. The following Monday we'll be going out.
Now I know you've been to the UAE quite a few times, but have you been to Saudi before?
No, I haven't. But my in-laws live out there because my father-in-law he works out there. So, and my wife, she lived from age of, so she's Bengali, so she was born in Bangladesh, but they lived in Saudi from birth pretty much. So she's coming out with me as well. So it's, and that's what I love about it, is I'm able to experience. For me, it's about experiences and being able to experience that with my wife, doing my job, like an amazing opportunity.
One of the things that you actually said just a few moments ago, that cars bring people together. And especially on your travels overseas and particularly to the Middle East, don't you find that? Yeah,
and I think this is I've been lucky enough to go and do stuff out in the States as well, and I think ultimately that's what it's all about. Is that it's these vehicles, and whether it's like you see like Land Rovers or whatever, it all brings people together. And certainly the shows that I've been doing, like the Johnny Smith's Late Break show, which was last week in Manchester. You can put a whole load of eclectic cars together, and it doesn't matter what it is, because we all appreciate sitting with wheels. Like I could park, when I was at Goodwood for the members meeting, I mean, this was parked opposite some priceless Jags and Ferraris, and I'm like, how is a 12-year-old Chevrolet Spark being okay to
Well, it's priceless now because it's got my signature on it.
Of course. I mean, every time somebody adds their thing to it, it obviously adds value and miles per hour. This will go a little bit faster.
It's got brown carguy speed now.
Absolutely, I think that's what's really shown with the last 18 months is that and things like Revs as well that have really kind of combined, put that community together, and I think it's opened people up, and people are friendlier, and they want to, they've seen things like, actually we can have a chat, and doing, with doing the drawings as well, is that rather than me painting a say an iconic car like Mark 1 Escorts or whatever. I'm creating people's cars, and people can have a little piece of their car as an original,
immortalized.
as an original drawing, which is what they could never have when it was paintings.
And of course, he's also done my old Supra, which is absolutely awesome. I've got that in a frame now and everything. Love that. Thank you so much for doing that.
I've got stickers of that as well. I've got it's on my van as a sticker as well. So, I'll grab you some. I'll get you to merch.
That's awesome.
But that's the thing. Like, that's what I've really enjoyed. I've created stuff that I would never have done as paintings, and hopefully, literally, I thought I'd do it for this year, and then the next year I could see what events I do as paintings, what I do as drawings, and just because I'm now up to 1,115 drawings, which it started off as like get to 200 and see what it's like, and then eventually when the books come out and everything else, so Paddle Life, who I'm here with Paddle Life and the Turtlespeed shop, so we're working with them to do to publish the books, so it's exciting. It's exciting times.
Awesome. We'll have fun in Saudi.
I will do. Big trust. Touch wood.
So I found this amazing stand here at the NEC Motor Show Classic Car Show, which is unlike any other stand that I've seen. It's got an air of professionalism about it, and it's not surprising because this is Porsche Classic, and I've got Paul Kitchen with me. What is Porsche Classic?
So Porsche Classic exists to keep all our old cars on the road. Basically, we still manufacture 60,000 parts which keep these cars going, and we preserve these things to preserve our history, basically.
When you say manufactured, so these are parts that are made new. These are not parts that have been kept from that time.
No, so they're new parts made off old designs. So they use the original drawings, they use the original tooling to make sure that they are exactly how they were when these cars were first built.
So we're standing next to a couple of beautiful 911s. These are sort of my era 911s. These are the ones that I kind of relate to.
We do obviously 356 all the way up to 996. So we do Boxster, we do all the transaxles, 924, 944, 968, 928, Cayenne. So you've seen the four-wheel drive Cayenne on the corner. Anything that has been out of production for more than 10 years in our world is classed as a classic, so it falls into Porsche Classic.
So do you also sell vehicles as well, or is it just purely a part supply? Is there a restoration side of it?
Porsche ourselves, we don't do it, but through our centres. So for example, the 356 on the corner of the stand is currently for sale through our Porsche Centre Leeds. We do have a factory restoration team in Germany that restore cars to factory restoration. So if you've got a car that an existing car that you want to restore, they will restore it back to factory spec.
Cool. And how can people find you? Is it just through a Porsche dealer, or is there a direct website?
So if you go to porsche.co.uk/classic, you'll find everything about Porsche and everything we do in classics.
Awesome. Thanks for talking to us, Paul. And thanks to Jay Williams over at Air Technic, who are my top tier sponsors. Check them out for exhaust, brakes, suspension, and even body kits. Also, much appreciation to my tier 4 sponsors, Muhammad Ali Ahmed and Tom Conway Gordon. And of course, all of these other guys who have joined me on Patreon. Without their support, I can't be creating the content that I am doing. Perhaps you can join them. Head over to patreon.com/browncarguy. Even if you can't do that, make sure you're subscribing and sharing this channel, which of course is youtube.com/browncarguy. Also subscribe to browncarguy.com and follow me on all the socials. Just search for my hashtag, which of course is #browncarguy.